Good morning, ladies. As you know, this is David Theus, and you are joining us for yet another episode number four of our Saturday morning coaching call here on the Small Business Patriot. And just like we've done in the other three episodes, we'll start off with Susan to my left and Peggy. If you don't mind introducing yourselves and give us just kind of a brief, what is your company and what do you do? Susan, you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Susan Soltis, and I'm the owner of Signatures Sealed, and I am a mobile notary and signing agent.
Give us a little bit of what does that entail? Who might be your customer?
Well, a lot of times I have to go to nursing homes to sign power of attorneys because they're unable to come to me, so I go to them. And the nursing homes have my cards there, so they reach out to me. I can officiate weddings. I'm a signing agent that signs loan documents. So that's the lucrative side of the business. But unfortunately, due to other commitments now, I don't get that much of that business anymore. But I still do a lot of in the evenings and on weekends, notary signings, power of attorneys, wills, anything that needs to be notarized.
Okay, good. Convenience. I like that. Peggy?
Hi, good morning. Peggy Lynch, 21K Promotions. What I do is I work with any type of a business, organization, club, etc., no matter what size, on building their brand recognition, using promotional products to do that. I'm also helping to build the Facebook page for Promote St. John's, your partner. So.
And just for those, by the way, our last video ranked at number one. We had well over 60 views. Yay. So I don't know what that means in the world of YouTube and whatnot, but hey, audience may be growing. And it's just so for people that might be watching this in our area, Susan, your territory that you would consider as far as counties, what would you cover?
Clay, Duval, Putnam, St. John's.
Okay.
Bradford.
Okay. Peggy, how about you?
Oh yeah, I cover almost any county. With what I do, I actually have clients in 5 states, so okay. I can cover any county. I mean, I'm based in St. Johns County, but I've had clients in Clay and Duval for quite a long time.
So. And the Chicagoland area as well?
Yes, that's what, yeah, Chicagoland.
I mean, it is YouTube. You never know. We could have a national audience. So
how about that?
Let's think big.
All righty.
All right. So the format for the coaching call, Saturday morning coaching call, by the way, and by the way, for you listeners, this is 9 o'clock Saturday morning. And let me say that again, it's Saturday morning. So these individuals are taking some time off of their week and their weekend to seek out some information and some guidance. I'm by no means the smartest guy. I'm the only guy in the room again this week, not the smartest guy in the room, but I like this because I get to listen intently to what these ladies are asking and talking about. And then the real benefit for, I think, this programming that we're finding is there is a peer advisory element where one of us may have a problem or a question, and lo and behold, someone in the group may have a solution other than myself. And so I think there's some real synergy starting to happen with this programming and this format, and I'm liking it. So let's get started. If one of you has a topic that you'd like to discuss or bring up for this morning's call.
You know, I'm going to have something, David, but Susan, okay. Do you have anything right now?
My problem is, I guess, doing almost 2 jobs, finding the time to dedicate to my business. That seems to be the problem, because by the time I get home in the evening, I am mentally wiped out. So, and then I gotta, I'll get calls to go out, and I don't turn them down. I do go out. But it's finding that time.
Peggy, you want to weigh in on any of that, or I have a great answer for you?
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna sympathize with Susan, because that it's got to be tough. I mean, those long days, and you want to start out whatever it is you're doing fresh, and that's difficult to do when you're burning the candle at both ends. But let's hear from David.
So what we're talking about is you've got a day gig, which is a full-time position.
Yep.
And then you've got, for lack of a better term, a part-time gig, which is your business.
Right.
And so how do we juggle sleep, time with family, time with the full-time job, and then time with our customers? And so the secret that I found, and it's a little bit challenging because you as a self-employed person, when the phone rings, you want to answer it and you want to be on top of it and don't miss any opportunity to facilitate business. And so what I discovered from a mentor of mine in the financial services business years ago was you've got to look at your calendar and decide what days that you're going to be in business. And so I know the phone will ring. You'll be at a nursing home. For example, a customer will be at a nursing home and they say, I need this done now.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably, you get several of those oftentimes. And those are the ones you're going to have to kind of weigh quickly while you're on the phone and say, well, does it need to be done now or not? But if you can kind of set up your book, your calendar, in what days that you want to be in business. And it literally starts to be a challenge of training your customers. I know that sounds somewhat counterintuitive. The customer is always right. We've always heard that before. But the reality is we've got to train them to be on our schedule, because if we don't, we won't be able to provide the best possible solutions to them. We'll be scatterbrained. It'll show up in our service providing. And so there's a topic that we may get to today about my work week and how that works. It's not quite parallel to this discussion, but is there a day? Let's take your day gig, for example. What are the heaviest days that you've discovered at your normal, your day gig?
Oh, that's insane.
Every day?
Every day. Yes. Monday through Friday from 7:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon. I only get 30 minutes for lunch.
Okay.
So it is nonstop.
It is Friday at this may lead into one of the Davisms I've got to talk about, but is Friday a cleanup day for your day gig, or are they able to schedule jobs, or are they on an emergency response team kind of thing?
It's both.
Okay.
So I like yesterday, I had to invoice probably 30 jobs.
Okay.
That came in the night before.
Okay. What is is Monday put out fire day?
Monday's insane too, because they work over the weekends as well, the people in the field.
Okay, so that's the next.
On Monday, I'm finding my email list is at least 100 emails.
So the next question is Saturday, which you're here with us this morning.
Right.
And the last thing you maybe want to do is grind it all 5 days at that kind of pace. And then, oh, by the way, get up Saturday and go to work. I'm not an advocate for working on Sunday, because I believe God by design puts a day of rest in the schedule, and not just because he said so, but it's good for our body, mind, and soul as well. But Saturday is an obvious choice that I do this type of work on Saturday. And then maybe if you could earmark Saturday and then try to earmark one weekday evening, whether it be Monday's never a good day, because in your line of work, what you do, you got to put the pile of stuff on your desk off the desk. So you're really looking at maybe Wednesday, we'll talk about again. Wednesday is that hump day where most businesses are kind of caught up on files from Monday, Tuesday, and they're looking downhill into Thursday, Friday. So Wednesday may be that pinnacle day during the week. That it doesn't mean you're going to work less at your day job, but it could be that kind of emotional, I still have my wits about me. The week hasn't burned me up during the shift, and I can still, function and still get through Thursday and Fridays. But the point of this is, whether it be whatever the day is, you've got to earmark a day that says, this is the time I'm going to spend on this business. It's got to be intentional, because if it's just happenstance, whenever it happens, guess what? it'll never happen. And so what I suggest is if you have a calendar that has by the week, for example, get yourself one of those calendars by the week, and it has the time slots in the slot. Take a yellow highlighter, whatever your favorite color is, and highlight Wednesday from 6:30 to 9, and then highlight Saturday from 10 to 2 or 10 to 3. Don't try to book the whole day. And then when someone calls on Tuesday, for example, you can look at your calendar right away, and you should take the first available spot that you have open on Wednesday and say, what about Wednesday at 6:30 or Wednesday at 7? Try to allocate 90-minute slots and do it on the hour to keep it easy. So if you have a 7 o'clock slot, then it's going to be 7 to 8:30. That's your window. So you may only get one in on Wednesday, at 7 o'clock anyway. And then on Saturday from 10 to 11:30, from 12 to 1:30, from 2 to 3:30. You understand what I'm saying? And if
Yeah, a lot of problem is I'm mobile. So sometimes I'm driving to, if it's like the Wednesday at 6:30, I could be driving to Putnam County, which takes a while to get there and time to come back. So I could only do that one.
Well, and that's part of the reason for the 90-minute block, and then start on the hour. So if you do, from my experience, let's say you've got a 2 o'clock call. The 2 o'clock call is going to be from 2 to 3:30. Now you may not take all 90 minutes to get the call done once you're there, but it might. That gives you 30 minutes theoretically to get to the next call. Now, if you got to move it to Putnam County after that, you're going to have to adjust your schedule accordingly.
Right.
But that should give you enough travel time within the greater area that we live in. And if you're fortunate enough to book 2 appointments back to back, that's the point.
Right.
But the overriding principle here is, Ben Franklin said, if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. And so what I like to do is be intentional, get your calendar out, get a highlighter, and say, this is the slot. So someone calls and says, look, I know you need to get this done. This is an emergency, but I have Wednesday at 7 o'clock available. Can we work with that? And most of the time, what most of us want, and what we're failing to see in the marketplace, is people willing to communicate with us. And so if you can communicate to your customer or your prospect that that is the opportunity that's available, the most likely will be saying, okay, yeah, that works for me. I understand you have a life. Now, if it's truly an emergency, you're a hero for saying, I can do it. I'll get with you, and can I be there in about 45 minutes? But that needs to be your pullback. If you do that every time, you're just going to be, the next question on Saturday morning is, how do I save myself from, going into oblivion? So, good question. I hope that helps, but get intentional about your schedule.
Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on that if I may.
Yes, please. Piggyback away.
Okay. Alrighty. No, I just, it's difficult for a lot of us to not get caught up like a hamster in a wheel. We can just keep going and going and going, and that's obviously not productive. So I think we need to be reminded periodically with what David just said, the idea to schedule it and stick to a schedule.
Well, I'll give you the challenge. Let me take a slight sidebar. The challenge for us is, again, here we are. We're sole proprietors, or at least one person shops is what we're talking about. So we're it. We're the marketing department. We're the administration. We're the sales department. We're the people that clean up the shop after the end of the day. And so the challenge is, if the phone rings, you got to go. I mean, if I miss this call, it's a missed call. It's a missed opportunity, missed paycheck, all those things that fall into, like a domino effect. And so I know recently I was at dinner. At 58 years old, it's taken me a long time to learn this. But my wife has been patient for all these years. And so we're at dinner, and it's just inherently in me. The phone rings. We're having a conversation over dinner, and it's a conversation that I should be involved in with my wife. And the phone rings, and I grab it right in mid conversation, as if to say, you're not important. I need to take this. This is more important than you. Now, I never, maybe I'm just a dumb male for those listeners that are out there watching. I never saw it that way. I justified it by it's an opportunity that could further our household by making more money and bringing more money into the house and keeping things alive. But the reality is we've got to be willing to prioritize our lives too. It's not selfish. And I think when we demonstrate that, whether it's subconscious or conscious to our clients or prospects, they see it. And so it's called being a professional. They see us being professional, and the expectation is they're going to be professional as well. And when we start being professionals to our mates, our spouses, and our customers, somehow it transfers to everybody else. And so that's the fight, that challenge to say, I got to do it. No, you've got to be a professional and start operating like one. It's hard because we don't want to miss opportunity. Okay, good. We mixed up a life lesson and a business lesson.
Yes, I think David said instead of work-life balance, it should be called life-work balance.
Yeah, that's a touchy subject, though. For those of us, what's his name? Gary V. There's a real popular fellow out of New York City who is all about the grind. You know, I think that guy, if we had 40 hours in a day, he'd work every 40 hours. But I've noticed watching Gary Vee recently, and he's not the end all. I mean, I love the guy and I love what he stands for, but he's actually pulled back on the grind a little bit because I think viewers are starting to say, look, this is not all it's all about. And maybe his family has said, you know, spend some more time with us. But each person has their own deal. I'm not the soothsayer of what you should or shouldn't do. I just know what works for me. All right. Good. That could be a whole topic in itself. Peggy, you got anything on your magic list?
Well, yeah, I do have a question. Okay, and it's probably not the most pleasant question for business owners to deal with, but it needs to be addressed. How and when do you fire a client?
As soon as possible. Now this is a good dovetail question. Susan, do you want to weigh in before I say anything?
I mean, I've done it in the past, and mine was mostly because failure to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, after numerous emails, phone calls, conversations, you got to say, hey, this is a continual habit that they don't pay on time, and you just say, I'm sorry, I can't do business with you.
Okay.
Without hesitation, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
So it really dovetail on the conversation about being a professional and how we operate as professionals and the things that we do to facilitate that. So I work under the premise of, I look in the mirror and say, what are my expectations for myself? How am I going to live and operate the things how am I going to carry myself in the public arena? How am I going to talk to people and care for people and that sort of thing? And then I set those same expectations for my clients. When I was in the financial services industry, one of two careers, and I would be discussing a point in a financial plan for life insurance, for example, and I would have a male prospect or customer, and we would discuss, you know, replacing his income, because if he dies, his stay-at-home wife, who would care for the children, and who would how would you continue their lifestyle? And if that customer said, or that prospect said, I don't care, you know, she'll finally have to get up off her butt and go to work or contribute. Well, I mean, that's your argument in your household. That's fine. But my expectation personally is that I should care for my children and for my spouse. And if I die, there should be some sort of plan in place. And so I use the rule, how would I do it? Now, I know that we can't put ourselves in every customer's space, but there are certain expectations I'm going to have that the people, quite frankly, who do I want to work with? Who do I want to associate with? And so if they start breaking down those levels of expectations, that I have, then they're starting to get on the hit list, so to speak, the short list. So I think it's important for us to establish who we are. Take a look in the mirror and say, here's some certain standards that I'm willing to live by. I know not everyone's perfect, and we're not the same people. And there's got to be some gray area, I guess, that you can move around in, but some bottom line expectations, criteria that we can set should be the judgment for if we keep a customer. Now, to Susan's point, they didn't pay. Well, I pay my bills. I know sometimes I get into trouble and I have a tough spell there or a tough stretch, and I can communicate with my vendor and say, listen, we're having a tough time, but I'm going to be professional and communicate. But if this person fails to do that, and we've reached out and there's a, screw you kind of attitude about it, well, we got to part ways, because I'm not going to lower my standards and my expectations just because there's theoretically a dollar bill associated with it. I'm going to be a professional and consistent. So that's the timing of it. I think what your question was when do you do it? The trap is the old carrot, and the story goes that the farmer would strap a pole to the mule's head and dangle a carrot out in front of him. And so that's the way you could keep him straight in the plow. So when he was plowing down the field, the mule would be seeking that carrot to keep him straight down the furrows. Well, that's kind of what a customer can do to us. Well, you can't fire me because I got that big order coming next spring and you really want that big order. Well, not really. The point is you can live without it. And I think, again, I don't have a crystal ball. I think when we start putting those priorities first, that I'm just going to trust that if I fire this guy that's promised me this big order, or historically he's had this big order that shows up, then I think somewhere in the universe we get rewarded for doing what's right. I know where it comes from, but the reality is if we stand up to our principles and do what's right, then our customers should too. And let someone else deal with them. That can be your gift to the universe to say, you get to handle this guy. I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah, it's a tough one because, again, we're sole individuals trying to make a living here doing this. And now I'm firing clients. That doesn't make sense. But I think it works out in the end when you stand for principles, and they got to be your principles. I mean, my principles might be different than yours. Whatever, you're free to choose what they are, but stand by them and then live by them.
Okay.
Good question. Good question. Okay. I have something, I don't want to step on anyone, that maybe kind of, again, dovetails, that's a nice word to use today, into somewhat what we're talking about. Anyone else have anything else before I go there?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Okay. This will probably carry us through this episode. We started not at 9 o'clock, but we're at 9:28. So we'll probably get 30 minutes out of this, so just over. So I was doing a presentation this week and someone asked me about, in business to business. Now, Susan, your business is not quote unquote business to business per se. Your business B2C, business to consumer. Mm-hmm. Peggy, you're more in line with the business to business. And we've had this conversation, I believe, but how it's come up several times as a business to business person. How do I schedule my week so that I can see people on a more productive time frame? And I was trying to come up with using the screen share to be even more technically advanced, but I didn't want to mess around with it. But I'll speak somewhat slowly so you can write it down if you wanted to. But this falls under the category of Daveisms. And Susan, that comes from Renee Eipel, I think, said it last week. Some of the things I just come up with. So anyway, my theory on the work week starts on Friday. Most people start on Monday, but where I start is on Friday. And so it's to give you some context of why things happen and what's going on in the week. And so my experience when I'm calling as a business owner on other businesses to get in touch with them, that maybe their employees, purchasing agents, and so forth, Friday, they usually come into the office maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and they'll work through lunch. They won't go to lunch necessarily. They'll work through lunch about 1 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock, and then they go home. they leave. Or they'll take lunch about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Well, the same thing. They just take off. They'll actually go to lunch and they'll take off. So it's really not a full day. It's a half day. And that's why I asked about your day gig. Was Friday looser or not? And so, but I understand the consequences of what's going on. So Friday for you on your schedule, on your calendar, if you're B2B, needs to be no appointments booked. It needs to be a cleanup day, a catch-all. And you'll see why when I explain just a second. So Friday, that's what the customer or prospect is doing. They're coming in slightly, they're catching the Friday morning drive. They're not stuck in all the traffic. It's usually about 30 minutes to an hour later than normal. And they're taking off early. Now, and we'll circle back around, but Friday is no appointments booked and it's a catch-all or cleanup day. Now let's jump ahead to Monday. Monday is a terrible day to try to book appointments as far as to see people. It's a bad day to see people, but it's a great day to be in your office and process paperwork and administrative stuff, but make phone calls to book the appointments. Every day you should try to be calling folks to button up things and make appointments, but Monday is a great day to catch those people in the office. They will be in the office on Monday to take your call. They may be a little frustrated sounding because guess what's happening? They're having to catch up on all the work they were supposed to do on Friday and tackle Monday's work as well. So they're under the weight of all the paperwork and stuff they have to do. They will not go to lunch on Monday, so you can't take them to lunch. They will not leave the office, and they may stay late on Monday. Tuesday is the first day of the week that you can actually go see someone. So you can book appointments on Tuesday. You may not get the best results, but it is a day to see them because by Tuesday, they've caught up on the weekend's work that they screwed off on Friday, and they're catching up on Monday's work that's piled up on top of them. They're not done yet, but they've caught up somewhat on Monday. Tuesday is a great day to start off with the first call and saying, listen, I'm going to be in your area on Tuesday morning. How do you take your coffee? Let me bring you a coffee and get an early one, like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, at least open and offer with that. So you may get a first pop on Tuesday at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be right in your neighborhood. It looks like I'm going to be right over next door to you. How do you take your coffee? I'm bringing you coffee. And when you do that, they're like, oh, yeah, bring me some coffee. I'd love that. You're in the door. Okay. Again, they will not leave their office on Tuesday. They're going to be there all day. They're not going to take lunch. Wednesday, they've caught up. Now the weekend stuff they screwed off on Friday's caught up. Monday's caught up. Tuesday's caught up. And now they're working on Wednesday's pile. And Wednesday is the first day where they kind of beat their chest and say, "My golly, I've earned it. I'm going to lunch today." And that's where we get that kind of hump day scenario. If you watch restaurants, they're full of people on Wednesday for lunch. And the third day, they're going to lunch. So it's a great day to say the same thing. Hey, I'm going to be in your area for coffee. How do you take your coffee? It's an awesome day to take someone to lunch on Wednesday. So if you're calling business to business, set the appointment, say, listen, I'm going to be over by you. I want to take you to lunch. Let's get together for lunch. Oh, yeah, I'm going to lunch today. So that's how that works. Thursday, another great day. So if you hadn't figured it out, we're looking at booking appointments for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Thursday is another day for I'm going to be in your area. How do you take your coffee? I'm going to take you to lunch. And Thursday, actually, after hours could be a good time. Let's get together for a happy hour on Thursday because it's not Friday where they want to do something with their friends and family, but it's Thursday and they're still feeling froggy that I'm caught up. Okay. And then Friday, we get to Friday, don't book anything because what will happen is Tuesday's people will call you and say, look, I can't get together with you. Something's come up. I still haven't finished the Monday pile yet. I need to push out. And so what they're going to ask you to do is, can we meet next Tuesday? No. All you got to do is say, hey, listen, Bob, turns out I had a cancellation on Friday. Can we get together on Friday instead of pushing out the next week? And you grab them that Friday. So Friday will be your busiest day to see it. Well, two things. It'll either be your busiest day. You'll book 6, 7, 8 appointments on Friday because it'll be catching the ones that cancel on you, or you don't have anything booked. And so what do you do if you have nothing booked? Go have some time. Go eat lunch. Go with your friends. Go meet up with your family. Have some quality time for yourself. Okay, that's the Davism work week for business to business, and you can get at least 10 appointments for the week, and probably closer to 20 to 25 appointments easily in that system, if you can apply that to your scheduling. And you're really working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in the field, with Friday being the catch up. The real secret sauce is don't let them push you into next week. Once you've got them booked, grab them that week. So if you could do 10 to 15 appointments a week, 10 appointments is 500 people a year that you're going to see. So your business had better take off. If you're in front of 500 people on a scheduled appointment a year, you're going to be successful. So, and then, I think in the furniture days, my goal was 6 to 7 a day, which is running full speed. Anyway, okay. So that's Davism's. We got to come up with a popular work week for B2B making appointments. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
and I wrote it down again because we've talked about this before, Dave, and it doesn't hurt to have a refresher now and then. So
it seems to come up when I worked in the financial services business. I have to give Joe Maltese is his name. I doubt he'll ever watch this, but Joe Maltese, he is, it's about being systematic approach. A systematic approach is having a system and apply it. And so he has all these kind of tricks that he did that were some of the, I won't get into those, but they're just silly tricks that he helped remind himself to do things. And some of them I grabbed and took with me. But his systematic approach to things, it's the same way that we applied in investing. There's a systematic approach to investing. We're always trying to take the emotion out of things and get ourselves into the grind. Not to sound like we're a hamster on a wheel, but the reality is business is business is business. You just got to keep doing the same things over again. We get the benefit of meeting new personalities every time we talk to somebody. So that's where I get a charge out of. All right. I feel like I hogged the mic today. Well, anything else? No?
I'm all set.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up here. And thank you, Susan and Peggy, for being on today's episode. And I hope this is fruitful for those who might be listening and watching. But in the meantime, join us next week for another Saturday morning coaching call. And then turns out, just a little technical notice, as we record these on Zoom, and this is my technical naivete, it provides us with a video file, and it separates out the audio as well. So we're actually loading these audio files up to my Spreaker platform, which promotes me out to Spotify. And so you're able to listen to us and on our podcast under Spotify, wherever you listen to a podcast, and look for the Small Business Patriot. David Theus is my name, Theus, like the US. The Small Business Patriot. And ladies, I thank you so much for today, your participation. And until we meet again, have a blessed weekend and the rest of your week. And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. How's that sound?
Thank you. You as well.
All right.
Thanks, David. Bye, Susan.
Bye-bye.